from Boston, Massachusetts.
Still reside in Boston?
Yeah, I'm still in Boston for the moment. I'm about to relocate soon, actually.
Okay. And is the relocating having to do with your music career at all?
Yeah, it's all about music.
Okay. Do you know where you're going to be moving to already, or you're just kind of looking at the options?
Yeah, I'm moving to Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, is it a certain part of Boston you represent?
Yeah, I represent Dorchester, for sure.
Now, growing up in Boston, can you paint that picture for us? What was that like for you?
Growing up in Boston, it was a little bit different of an experience for me. You know, in Boston, out of the power cities, like, you know, New York, LA, Atlanta, places like that, Boston has like the lowest amount of like of black people there compared to all the other power cities. So, you know, you had your friends that you were cool with or whatever, but I know like when I went to high school, for example, it was like some kids is like first time ever going to school with black kids, you know what I'm saying? So you can notice that culture shock and shit like that. So, you know, Boston was cool because everybody had their own friends. And like you look on TV and you think that there's nothing but white folks in Boston, but now we got black folks up there, plenty of them. But I guess not juxtaposed to all the other power cities and stuff like that throughout the country. So Boston was cool though, man. A lot of love.
Was it a rough upbringing for you?
Nah, it wasn't a rough upbringing. I mean, everybody has their patches, right? So my parents both worked hard as hell to make sure that, like, you know, we had everything that we needed. So we had times when we was balling, but, you know, like everybody else, we also had times that we struggled a lot too. So, you know, it's the highs and the lows that kind of balance you out.
Financially, how'd you grow up?
Yeah, that's specifically what I was talking to.
Well,
so like
no,
sometimes
I know, but,
we was balling, but sometimes we
Would you say when you say balling, are we talking rich? Are we talking upper middle class? Are we talking middle class?
Yeah, middle class.
Okay.
Middle class, yeah.
And then when we're struggling, are we talking lower middle class? Are we talking poverty?
Yeah, poverty, man.
Okay.
Poverty. You know, but we were prideful people. So we were able to like sacrifice things that are basic necessities in order to stay afloat until we can get back on our feet with certain things, man. So, you know, I come from a good cloth. I'm cut from a good cloth. People who are gonna survive regardless of what goes down. You know.
Now, in the description you painted,
Yeah.
there's obviously a low point and a high point, especially when you're balling and, you know,
Yeah.
and you're at your lowest, poverty there for you. But let's start with the low point. What was the lowest point in your life growing up for you?
I mean, I think the lowest point in my life was like when you felt more comfortable being away at school because like things were a little bit better there. You know, like you could run away from your problems when you were at school. You know, so I went to college, still in state, but like a bit of distance away. So when I was away at school, you know, everything was cool and stuff like that. I had my friends. I didn't really have to think about the problems that was going on back at home. But I know it was expensive to send me to school too, right? So I would come home and kind of get the reality of that. Like, all right, so it's like there's money associated with the fact that I'm in college right now, even though I did get a scholarship to play football. But, you know, there's still like books and food expenses and stuff like that that you got to pay at college. So, you know, you come home for vacations and stuff and, you know, it's like cold in the house, you know, or if the water is not getting hot, you know what I'm saying? You know something's going down, you know what I mean? Or if the cable's off, it's little shit like that that kind of reminds you, it brings you back down to earth. It's like, yo, things ain't always sweet. You know what I mean? It costs money for you to be doing what you're doing. And, you know, when you got stubborn parents who want the best for you regardless of what they got to sacrifice, it makes you appreciate it that much more, man. So I busted my ass in school, to be honest with you, bro. I ain't even gonna sit up here and make it seem like, oh, I was a rapper because I ain't had no other options. I had plenty of other options. Actually own a business. So it's like, I'm doing this because I love it, you know. I've been in love with music. I cut my teeth in music, but you know, the low points make you really appreciate what you got and the opportunities that you do have in front of you.
You graduated college?
Yeah, double major.
We'll talk a little bit about that a little later in this segment, but just curious, I didn't know that even when you have a scholarship, even for sports, you still have to come out of pocket for the books and the food and stuff like that? Well,
not all athletes do. You know what I'm saying? Not all athletes do. I was good, but I didn't have a completely full scholarship. I played at Division II level, right? So I played football at Assumption College, Go Hounds or whatever. But
it was a full scholarship, or it was a
partial. So they can. So the way it works at like Division II schools, right? They're not supposed to give out full football scholarships. You know what I'm saying? For that division that conference that I was in. So you know you can mix it with like athletic money, and then you can give like financial aid money or like scholarship money, and they do a mixture of that. You know what I'm saying, to make sure that you get all the money that you need in order to be there.
But you still had to come out of pocket.
I definitely still had to come out of pocket, so yeah.
We'll delve into that, like I said, in a little bit, but I was just wanted to ask since we were on there for a second.
Yeah.
When it came to the struggle times financially for your family, did you have to chip in?
Yeah, man, I was always helping as much as we could. That's the type of house that we have, though. That's the type of family that we have. So it's like if you see somebody else is not doing well, I'd be foolish to like be making some money and not try to help out with the situation. You know what I mean?
Were you asked to chip in, or you take it upon yourself?
Take it upon yourself, man. That's just the way I was raised. We all look out for each other, so when we can help, we help.
Now, were you getting a job and chipping in, or did you have to go through another means like street activity?
Nah, I had to go through no street activity, man. I was a musician. I've been a professional drummer since I was like 11 years old, right? And so professional, like when you start getting paid to play on a regular basis, right? So, you know, I was a church boy growing up. And so like I cut my teeth like on drums in church and stuff like that. So I was taking piano lessons on Saturdays while other kids was outside playing and shit like that. I was taking drum lessons and stuff. So I would go to church and play drums like all day on Sundays. I'd have a gig that afternoon, you know what I'm saying, with a different gospel group in the city. And then I come home and do my homework for Monday, you know what I'm saying? But in a Sunday, you know, I could be making somewhere like $500 in a Sunday just off of playing drums. You know what I mean? And that's not even counting like different stuff that I had to do throughout the week. If somebody had a gig here, if somebody had a gig here, you know, so it's kind of funny, like seeing this 11-year-old kid kind of short and fat with an afro on playing on drums, could hardly see over the set behind a bunch of old grown folks and stuff like that. So, but that's what I was doing, man, you know. Always made sure that I could chip in whenever I had to, or, you know, I could buy myself stuff. I've been working for a long time.
$500 for an 11-year-old kid is a lot of money.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I didn't really realize it back then, but.
Some adults are getting $500 a week right
now. I'm hip, and I was making it in a Sunday.
Playing an instrument.
Playing an instrument. Shout out to my mom, bro.
How'd you learn?
I begged for a drum set. I begged for a drum set for Christmas when I was 6 years old, and I got it. As soon as I got that drum set, bro, we put it together. I was playing Christmas morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning, pissing my sister off. And so I fell in love with it, bro. I was hungry for it. So I was just playing every day as much as I could. And by the time I was 11, I was good to go. I was ready to go.
Just experimenting and naturally.
I took some lessons too.
Oh, you did take lessons. Mm-hmm. Was YouTube, I mean, could you YouTube stuff like for tutorials and stuff back then or no?
Bro, so like we had VHSs back then. You know what I'm saying? We had VHS tapes, and maybe YouTube was around back then, but we definitely weren't using it. It wasn't like the YouTube era like it is now.
Where people can search for something and a tutorial pops up on how to do stuff.
Man, you can find out how to put a car together on YouTube, bro. Like, so it was nothing like that. If I had that back in the day, oh, come on. I'd have been crazy.
So you weren't lured by street activity at all?
No, I had a brother who did that, so I got to see all of that shit firsthand without having to do it. Yeah, man, I remember that. I remember how hard it is to see somebody that you love taken away and not really understand what the hell's going on when you were a young kid. So, and I saw that the pain that caused everybody else around me, so I didn't really need to dive into that stuff to know what was up with that.
He did jail time or prison time?
Yeah, he did time, jail time. I don't know, when do they call it prison? How many years you got to be away in order for it to be prison? Well,
jail is like, I guess some people use the term for both, but when I say jail, I mean like county jail, and when I say prison, I mean like state or federal prison.
Yeah.
Jail, I think, is less than a year, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be different for different states, but from what I understand, jail is something less than a year, and prison is something more than a year.
Yeah, so definitely a prison sentence, yeah.
Do you know if it was state or federal?
Nah. Try to stay up out of that shit, man.
Got you. What did he go in for, do you know?
Yeah, but that's shit that I'm not at liberty to talk about.
Oh, okay. Now, What about as far as gang activity?
Mm-hmm.
Was gang activity big in Boston back then?
Bro, like, yeah, certain spots in Boston, like, you knew something was gonna pop off. You know what I mean? We like rep streets and stuff like that in Boston, right? So it's like you rep your projects, you rep streets and stuff like that. Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily like a Bloods or Crips thing so much as it was like a geographical thing up in the city.
Never lured into that either.
Nah, man, I stayed away from that shit.
What was your reasoning?
I had mad outlets. You know what I'm saying? I had mad different outlets. And so like, if I wasn't drumming, I was acting or something like that. You know what I mean? So I had mad different things for me to do. I had so much stuff that I was busy with that I didn't really have time to get lured into that different stuff.
Now, what about as far as school? What kind of kid were you in class?
So it depends on what we're talking about. So when I was in elementary school, like I was a class clown. You know what I'm saying? When I was in high school, I was doing so many different things. I was captain of the football team. I was like an all-state actor. Most valuable performer in the jazz band ensemble. So you know what I'm saying? So I had so many different things going on that I wasn't focusing on grades anyways, right? And so like I got to my senior year and I was like, oh shit, like niggas is going to college now, right? I was like, oh, let me giddy up on my horse, right? So fortunately I was good at other shit and it opened doors for me to be able to go to school, right? So then I got to college and I was like, all right, this is a new beginning. I probably need to pay attention. When you're a college athlete, they want you to focus on ball and they want you to focus on grades. And so when I did that, man, I just dominated classes. You know what I'm saying? I double majored and shit like that. Dean's List and all that, pretty much every semester, so.
Now, you were doing, that's kind of like a triple threat, right? You were doing sports,
yeah.
You were doing acting, and you were doing music.
Yeah.
Why all three? Was it because you were hoping one of them was going to land you some sort of scholarship, or you just enjoyed doing all three?
Yeah, man, I enjoyed doing all three. I never wanted to be a jack of all trades, master of none, but like I was good at all of these things, so it kind of just made sense to keep on doing them. But yeah, like I just love to do all of them. Like I was good at football. I had never played before I got to high school. But I was like, let me try it out. I made a team. I was a captain on that. You know what I'm saying? Acting, I got into it when I was 6, just because like one of my mom's nieces or whatever, she kind of like thrust me into the world because she needed a young actor at the time, and so I jumped in. And I was like natural on stage. I feel like all of those things kind of run together though. Like if you're outgoing, you're gonna be good at a couple of different things. And so like I was blessed with that.
People thought you were really good at sports though, compared to the acting and the music?
No, actually, people thought I had a higher trajectory when it came to the acting and the music.
Oh.
I thought I was going to the league though, and then I stopped growing after like 6 feet, and so I was like, oh, all right, no, so there's no more inches. So, yeah.
Now let's break some of these things down. When it came to the acting, I mean, is there a certain position that they, you know, I'm not familiar with the actor world, but is there a certain position they call that you played, or are you just a general actor, for lack of a better phrase?
Yeah, I was general actor. I was never typecast. You know, I would do everything from playing like a slave in Lorraine Hansberry's Drinking Gourd to like a witty kid in August Wilson's plays to, you know, a hobo in an alley in one play and like a teacher in the next trying to get somebody off a death row. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a bunch of different things, man. Just as long as you can imagine it and bring to life a realistic character, man, there's no limits on what you can do in acting.
You were doing acting simultaneously as you were in sports?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was fun. Like coaches were pissed a lot of the times when they was like, so you're missing football practice to go act? I was like, yeah, coach, I am. Yeah, he was not happy about that shit.
Were you ever teased for your acting while you were doing sports?
Nah, who's about to fuck me up? You know what I mean? Like I was not the one to tease. Not saying I was gonna beat you down, but like I was cool, man. I was cool. I made the trends. So it was never really a thing. Actually, after I started acting, a lot of other kids, like black kids in my school and stuff like that, who thought it was kind of weird before, who were not part of the theater geeks or whatever, or the drama geeks, they started doing acting afterwards, you know what I'm saying? And so I brought my school to like state competitions, and we was performing and we was winning and stuff like that. So you know, you got to open up a door, man. We limit ourselves too much. But there's a whole bunch of shit that we could do, man. You know, you see LeBron out here doing like documentaries and productions and stuff like that. Kevin Durant's on his and stuff like that. And they bring some of the best content to television. So it like kind of only makes sense.
Now, as far as football, what position did you play?
I was a defensive tackle in defensive end.
What jersey number?
55. Fives keep it alive.
Was there a meaning behind that jersey number?
So my sister wore 55 when she played ball at UMass.
And obviously you did varsity.
Yeah.
And you were good enough for an athletic scholarship.
Yeah.
You eventually committed to a Division II.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any possibility of Division I for you?
Yeah, man. It was, I was just actually talking about this the other day with my homie Juice. So he played at Holy Cross, and I went to Assumption. So we was down the street from each other, but we were talking about the other day, like, when we were getting recruited, like, what was our other options? And so, like, I had UConn, like, real heavy in the game at the beginning. And so I thought, when I was going to school, I was like, oh, bet they're going to want me to play, like, defensive line when I get to UConn. All the while not really thinking, like, yo, cats who play defensive line in college are, like, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", up, you know what I mean? And so they were like, I guess they wanted me at a linebacker position. So, but when I went to their camp that summer, when they invited me out, I came in like 10 pounds heavier because I wanted to be able to throw around like other offensive linemen and shit, but I was still fast. So like my fastest 40 was a 4.68 and I was at 275. But when I went into camp that year, I was like 285 and I ran a 4.8 40, like almost a 4.9 or whatever. And so they were like, yeah, man, you weren't as fast as we were looking for a linebacker type. And that's what kind of like got them out of there. And UMass offered like preferred walk-on slots and stuff like that. And I had some other D1AAs that gave me interest and stuff like that. But by the time that came around, man, I was like, let me go take this visit at Assumption College. And the vibes was real, man. So I just ended up going there.
It was the vibe or it was the offer of the financial scholarship was that the best financial offer you received? Or do you take it because of the vibe, I guess is more or less what I'm asking.
Well, you know, I had other offers from Division II programs as well. But like out of those, like Assumption was the best one. And you know, it was like, okay, I can go over here, I could ball for a year and I could transfer out again if I want to and then go D1. But I was just like, once you get there, man, like a lot of kids will tell you this, like once you go to school and you play ball somewhere for a year, you start to build that camaraderie with those other people that are around you. And it's like, damn, I had this whole plan to move, but now I got this dude depending on me. I got this dude depending on me. We done went through a whole summer together with all these workouts. Now it's a bond. We done scouted chicks that we was trying to hit like from preseason together. And you know, so it's like, oh, bro, I'm not about to leave this bond to go be a newbie at somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So you end up staying a lot of the time.
And you ended up staying.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hindsight 2020, do you regret that decision?
No, I don't regret that decision at all. Because I don't do a lot of the things I'm doing in music right now if I don't stay there.
I see. Now, acting, sports, music-wise, you never did like. Did you actually join the band?
Yeah.
You did join the band.
I was in mad bands. I was in like school bands and I was in bands outside of that. So I thought about going to like Berkeley or Juilliard or something like that too for college. But I wanted to play sports still because I was like, I'm only have my body for so long.
But when you're doing band, you can't obviously be in the band and play sports at the same time on a football game.
Nah, so see, I wasn't playing for like the school marching band. So I wasn't like getting a sack and then hopping up into the stands and hitting snares.
Okay.
That should be fire, but like that's not how we was rocking. That's not how we was rocking. I was in like the jazz ensemble, so we would go out and compete and stuff like that. So, you know, we got workouts and so my day was crazy long. So I'd come in at 7 o'clock in the morning to do this jazz band rehearsal. I would go through a whole day of class, get out at 2:30, head down to the locker room for 3 o'clock, go to football practice. You know what I mean? So I'm not getting out till 6. And I've been there since 7. And then it was BC High, it was a college prep school, so Catholic school all my life. So, you know, we had like hours of homework to do and shit like that. That's why it wasn't getting done.
I don't see how you have time for all this stuff back then.
That's why my grades was ass.
What was your GPA?
In high school?
Yeah.
I had like a 2.4, 2.5 or something like that.
But that was good enough to pass to be in that Division II school.
Yeah, for sure. But you got to realize, like, when you go to these college prep schools and stuff like that, like these Jesuit schools, like everybody around you is getting killing grades. You know what I mean? So for me to have anywhere from like a 2.3 to a 2.5, that wasn't really getting the job done. You know, colleges knew what kind of curriculum we had though, so I think that helped me out a little bit too.
Because I've done interviews with people that were really good in sports, but were not good academically and were not able to get a scholarship or secure.
You see that shit all the time, man. That shit happens all the time. And it's like, if you want to play ball, like, just do what you got to do to get a C so you can go to college. Do what you got to do. But there's a lot of teachers that, like, pass kids too, and then they go to college and can't do the work.
You had time for women during high school too, or no?
Yeah, I went to an all-boys school, but I definitely had time for women during high school. Me and my niggas ran high school.
So explain that, an all-boys school?
Yeah.
So that means there's no women in high school?
Bro, our teachers are stupid bad. Our teachers are crazy bad. It looked like the administration was smiling down on us because, like, you know, mad cats in the administration, they also went to this school. They knew it was an all-boys school, so they was like, nah, if it's going to be all boys, we got to hire teachers that look good. So they looked up for us at BC High. But yeah, we ran high school though, man. It's like you go to these private schools and they got these dances and stuff like that they do with all the other all-girls schools and stuff like that. And so I was in theater, so girls would come in from those schools to do productions with us and like different stuff like that.
That's how you were doing it.
So like there was mad time for shorties, you know what I mean? And I was a musician too, so it's like I was playing in church. I was winking at girls when they was coming around, putting money in the collection plate, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. There's plenty of time for women, man. There's always time for women. Always.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Damn, Smallz, I knew you was going to ask that question. How old was I? 17? 16 or 17. It was the summer before my junior year of high school.
Take us back.
Nah, wow. Yeah, I was literally having this conversation the other day. What you want to know?
How old was she?
She was the same age.
Same age?
Yeah.
Now, was she a virgin?
Nah.
She wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
She had the ups on you.
She had the ups on me. Bruh, so I was nervous. I actually made her wait like a whole 9 months to a year. You know, she was ready to do it. And I was like, bruh, I'm not doing this shit. Like, you know, when you young, you still got these pure ass ideas. It's like, I'm gonna get married. We're gonna have these kids. Like, it's gonna be live. You know what I mean? I was like a romantic young nigga. So I was like, oh, this is how we gonna do it. Man, I think my folks went out of town. Damn, I hope they don't watch this shit. I think my folks went out of town on the weekend or whatever, and she came over and stayed the night. And everything was cool, like I was resisting or whatever. You know what the fuck going on when you wake up in the morning time though, right? So I woke up, she had these little shorts on. I'm still half asleep, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, I trip, oh shit, I'm in the pussy, you know what I'm saying? So I felt all empty inside at the end. I was like, oh, I can't believe this. I had all these morals and all this shit that I was trying to keep up with. You know, I just remember waiting for the train, feeling like a part of me was gone.
Felt guilty.
Yeah. And then I got home after football practice that day, or after summer workouts, and I was like, no, that shit was live. We need to do this again tomorrow. So it was like, it's whatever, man. That guilt only lasts for so long until that beast come out. You know what I mean? Savage mode after that.
Now, did she know you were a virgin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She wasn't pushy. She was an angel. She wasn't pushy.
Oh, she was not?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
She let it be known that she wanted to do it, but she was not pushy. She was like, oh, we're going to get this done whenever you're ready, you know? So
is this an Adam and Eve moment here, or?
Hell yeah, man. She told me to bite the apple. She told me to bite the apple. Yeah. She brought that beast up out of me.
So when it happened, it wasn't planned. It was more so spontaneous.
Yeah, it was hella spontaneous.
You didn't go into it knowing you were going to lose your virginity that weekend.
Nah, I did not go into it thinking I was going to lose my virginity that weekend.
How long did that relationship last with you and her after that?
Years, bro. She amazing. She's still my homie to this day. But that relationship lasted some years for sure.
I see. Would that be considered your first love back then?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Why didn't things work out?
Because we were young. We were young. You know, when you start trying to plan the whole rest of your life when you like 16 or 17 years old, you know that shit never gonna pan out. Because we didn't go through any of the stuff that we were supposed to go through yet. So, you know, like college, like getting your license, like all of this stuff like that. Plus, I was young. And like, I was like one of the first niggas in my city with their license. It seemed like, you know what I mean, when we were 16. Seemed like I was always the first to do some shit. So like, I was the first to get my license, pull up at parties with my niggas. You know what I'm saying? I was the first to like start growing dreads, and then everybody in Boston had dreads after that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like some shit like that.
Your parents were really religious?
Yeah. My dad's a pastor.
So did they ever find out that you had lost your virginity at some point, or?
I think they knew. I think they knew. I mean, my dad, oh man. I thought I was sneaky one day, and I tried to sneak this girl into my crib, and my dad came home early from work, like on his break or whatever. I heard him bopping up the stairs. I was like, oh shit. And so I like jumped out the bed. He was like, hey son. I was like, hey, what up, dad? And so I like trying to hold the door and shit like that. He's like, what's going on in there? And he's like, you strong as shit. Pissed me off, my dad's so damn strong. So he like pushed the door open, and this chick sitting here laying on the bed, sir, with no shirt on, like, get in the closet, baby girl. If I jump off the bed, you got to help me out. You got to go halfway with me. I need, ladies, whoever's watching this interview, if you are sneaking in your man's crib and somebody pop up the stairs and you see him get frantic, don't lay there. Don't lay on the bed. Hop up and get in the closet. Get under the bed. Do something, like put some dirty clothes on top of you or some shit like that. Make it look like nothing's going on. I don't know what the fuck I expected her to do, but laying there in the bed was not it, bro. So that shit, I don't know if my dad was really as upset as he tried to make it seem. Because, you know, I think every father wants that moment where they like, oh, okay, cool. So this is where my son stands. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really seem like he was that upset about it. So, you know, I bop up into his room after that. I'm like, hey, Dad, it's not what it looks like. He's like, okay, yeah. I was like, Dad, I promise it's not what it looks like. I was like, we can keep this between us. You ain't got to tell Mom. He was like, oh, you know I got to tell your mama now. I was like, come on, you don't got to tell my mom. He's like, I got to tell your mama. And so she came home and gave me $1,000, bro. She gave me $1,000. You think you're a grown man, you can go do blah, 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 blah. I was like, bro, this is not it. I hadn't even lost my virginity at that point.
Oh.
So this is like before all of that shit.
This is a dry run.
Yeah, this is a dry run, bro. This is a dry run. I was just like, bro, what the fuck was you thinking? You know where I fucked up? My room was always dirty. And so before my mom left for work, she saw me in my room cleaning up. And she was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, check you out cleaning up your room. Like, at that time, I was like, oh, she's not going to find it suspicious at all. And my sister was like, yo, you idiot. Like, that's why Boss sent Dad home early, because she thought you was up to something because you never clean your fucking room. So, yeah. For the young niggas watching this, like, clean your room after your mom go out for work. Smart. Don't be doing abnormal shit.
You got some smart parents there.
Yeah.
They're honed in. Now, how'd you do with, like, homecoming, prom? Were you, I mean, you had all these titles with music and acting and sports, captain of this, that, and the third. Did you become homecoming king? Did you become prom king?
See, that was whack. We didn't have homecoming king or, like, prom king or whatever.
You had dances.
Oh, yeah. We had prom and stuff like that. We had semi-formals and stuff like that. It was on a cruise ship and whatnot. So, like, we did our thing, but, you know, I always brought the baddest chick to the party. You know how that was. Like, that's just what Riggz do. I always bring the baddest shorty. So I always had a woman looking wonderful. We pull up looking classy. You know, and that was it.
Now, as far as rapping, not the jazz stuff, not the church music stuff, rapping.
Yep.
What age or what grade did that start for you?
Rapping started a lot earlier than I realized. My brother used to play Big in the house and Jay-Z in the house and stuff like that. My brother and my sister, they used to play Biggie and Jay-Z in the crib all the time. And so I would go into my brother's room and like he's freestyling over Biggie's beats and stuff like that. So I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, how do you do this? I wish I could do it. He's like, yo, you could do it too. Just start rapping and like you'll get better over time. So, you know, I was like freestyling. I was fucking trash. Everybody's trash when they first start, when you got like idols like Biggie Smallz and blah, blah, blah. I think it's a little bit easier now because you could say like 3 words, put a couple ad libs in, and then You know what I mean? Think about your next line. But back in the day when you was listening to Jay-Z and Big L and Big Pun and stuff like that and Tupac, you know, you had to be saying some shit. So, like I got better over time. Next thing you know, like I'm freestyling in the lunchroom. You know, my homies is beating on the table and like I'm killing freestyles off of this. We recording them shits. We putting them on YouTube. Like, you know what I'm saying? We started to get popping off of that. Like now we know it around high school because I spit at any moment, you know? So that's how we was rocking, man. Like high school, we really started going with it.
You were battling other classmates?
Yeah, I was battling other classmates in the lunchroom and shit like that.
Won more, lost more, broke even?
You know how a lot of battles started out with me? It was like, yo, this nigga can spit too. Yo, Riggz, spit, blah, blah, blah. So we start spitting, right? I pull out a chopper on him lyrically. And so now it's like, oh, now we rapping together. All right, cool. So it's like, niggas ain't really want smoke in the first place, but I'm not even a battle rapper. I was just cool with the words. But you know, so it was always a love thing for me. You know what I mean? I'll never come in trying to be like, oh, like, fuck this nigga, he's whack. You know what I'm saying? I'm better than this cat. It's just like, yo, let's just do this. Let's just make the best product possible. Let's get these niggas a show.
Could you give us a show right now?
If you needed me to.
Kick some right now?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You gotta live for yourself. Niggas ain't really loyal. Niggas ain't riding with bitches. Bitches ain't really for you. Neither is women don't get set up by selfish hoes. Ain't no feelings in it, but my status keep a bustin' though. When I was taking buses though, shorties always told me no. Couldn't ask for digits, made me live it, so I had to grow. And I had to show that brighter days was on the rise. Same shorties frontin' in, the same ones spreading thighs. Now I'm sorting through thighs and breast. Keisha, Felicia, Christina, that's KFC. All declare that I'm the best, but now I fucking never call them ladies. Call them condom ladies. Rip them, use and toss them only time I call them ladies. Don't worry, mama, cause I still admire quality. Only thing that changed is I take it with my quantity. My lyrics murder like a nigga on the front page. Seem like when it come to this rap game, it's a new age. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I can like spit like different shit. It don't even matter, man. I got... when these niggas say rap, dog, if you say you rap, and the nigga asks you to rap, you supposed to rap, period. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to just be like, well, like, let me play you some records. Cause like, my nigga, you not rapping if you gotta play somebody some records and they ask you to rap on spot, you know?
Now, what about talent shows? Did you participate in any talent shows back then?
Nah, I mean, there wasn't really like a lot of talent shows that was available to me, I felt like. You know, I would've did those if that was the case.
You went through the VHS era. Mm-hmm. So you also, I assume, went through the CD selling era?
Yeah.
Did you sell like your own mixtapes back then? Nah,
I didn't sell my mixtapes back then. I didn't do a mixtape for real. I was in the MySpace era, bro, when we used to put shit on MySpace.
Ah, okay.
You remember that?
That might have been before the CDs then.
Yeah. So that was before the CD. So I was like on MySpace, like uploading tracks on there. You know what I mean? Back when Fruity Loops first started getting traction and stuff like that, I was like typing out beats on the keyboard. You know what I mean? And then like putting vocals over them because I just had got a MacBook. I was the first nigga with a MacBook too. And so it was like my parents was putting on. But I was like the first cat with a MacBook. And so like we was banging out beats and I would just record over them or whatever and throw them shits up on MySpace. All types of wild shit too though. Like I said, my niggas ran high school. So like if we had girls that we was like joking with, we would make like diss songs before we had dances coming up. Cause you know, in Boston, like we really dance and we really like do this shit, like as far as like reggae and shit's concerned. So, you know, we would have beef with girls and be like, yo, I'm gonna break you when we get to this party. And they'd be like, no, you not, nigga, I'm gonna break you, like blah, blah, blah. So I'd make diss tracks for shorties and stuff like that. Rep my clique and stuff like that. Like music was just an outlet, bro. It was just fun to do.
What about superlatives?
Mm-hmm.
Did you win any of those in the yearbook? Most likely to succeed.
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of superlatives in the yearbook, man. I don't even remember them shits though. Like I had mad superlatives in the yearbook. Like one of them was like most likely to be on the cover of Time magazine, like shit like that. You know, like all those like ones that you get for being charismatic and stuff like that. Those were cool. I appreciate people for thinking that.